Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is Keep or Sell. A big one. Villa fans, get involved in the comment section down below. Make sure you're smashing the like. Let's go for 1,000. Subscribe to the channel. Close to 25k. Do your part. Earl, he's ditched his Villa colours. How you doing, mate?
Oh, it's a big episode, this one. Feeling the pressure.
We are feeling the pressure, mate, because we are going to be brutally honest and give our honest thoughts on the squad, who we want to keep and who we think should go. As we go along, we will sort of give our thoughts on why and where things could look and where the positions that we feel like need to be strengthened that might sort of play in with where we're going to go with this episode. So we are going to, just kick it off straight away. I'm going to give you this one first, then, Earl. Emi Martinez, keep or sell?
Keep. 100% keep.
Now, to caveat this, I would 110% keep. But this one looks like it's out of our hands, and he's going to be leaving Aston Villa by all of the reports that you're sort of reading that Villa are in for a goalkeeper. It looks like he's going. Do you believe that he will go?
I'm not sure. I mean, I was convinced he was leaving at one point, and then some of Emery's comments made me change my mind. So I'm unsure what will happen, but yeah, like I say, I would definitely want him to stay. I do think he needs, competition, better competition in the squad. I do still think we need a goalkeeper, but I just think, with the World Cup coming up, I think he's going to have a big season, and I would prefer to have a Martinez replacement through the door, settled in, ready to go. Maybe the season after, before we sell him. I think it's a big risk. A goalkeeper signing can go so wrong, as we've seen with Man United, etc. So yeah, he's a keep for me.
I think how I expect this summer to go, there are going to be outs. Depending on which outs that there are going to be, with that, you're going to need some stability within your squad still. We all have different opinions of this player can go and this player can go, but we can't get rid of everybody. And with a certain amount of numbers that might leave, you are going to have a spine. You are going to have players that have still been ingrained in Unai's identity along the way, because that can help players settle in and just that stability of everything. And one of the most unsettling things in football is when you change a goalkeeper. And we've already kind of had this season a bit of a shaky back line, and then we've sort of recovered to one that keeps clean sheets out of nowhere. And the two have got to work together in unison. So I'm with you fully. I would want him to stay 110%. So next up, we've got Ezri Konsa. And again, he has got to stay. I think he's a wonderful player, a player that is just ingrained in what Unai wants. I don't think he had his best season. And I think he looked at times like his defensive partnership just wasn't quite settled. I think he looked pretty solid when he was with his sort of good friend Tyrone Mings, and when he's with Pau, it looked a little bit, I'm not sure. And then I feel like that whole back line just looked a little bit, and it was chopping and changing. So I don't think he had his best season, but I think he still stood out with a lot of his key attributes. He's sort of not being dribbled past. He's on the ball. His pass success rate has been very good. So I think he's probably one of those as well where you don't really pay too much attention to Konsa, because he just goes about his business and just operates, and he probably does a lot of things sometimes really well that sort of you just overlook, really. So, Konsa, are you at keep?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's one of the first names on the team sheet every week, surely. He's he's always in there, and yeah, like you said, I don't think he's had the best season. I think I've got a lot higher expectations for Konsa than I do for some other players, because I think he can be so good, and we'd be breaking into the England team and these sorts of things. But I just feel like he's a bit too passive at times, and I think that's a symptom of Aston Villa, the Aston Villa team at times. So yeah, maybe just a little bit too passive, but yeah, unbelievable player.
You are right, because wasn't it? What game was? I reckon it was about 3 games ago. He got his first yellow card. Do you remember that? He got his yellow card in something like game week 34 or 35, and I'm thinking, wow, like it's good discipline, but at the same time, like I kind of want to see a bit of needle from you, or a bit of just that bit of aggression. And like you say, he's so calm, and that's how he's sort of playing in this Emery way. But I think sometimes it probably does need that little bit of bite. I mean, you look at this as well, and one area that I think has really got to improve next year. 2 goals from Konsa. 2 goals. We need a bit from our defenders, especially. I think we do need to see a little bit more of a threat in the box, and utilise them a bit more. He played 34 games, started 33, and he got 8 clean sheets. So that was Konsa's season in a nutshell. I can see a player that we're edging towards. We're edging towards a certain player. We're getting there, right? Pau Torres, Earl, a player that I'm not going to say splits the fan base, but one that you see a lot of. I'd rather have Mings than Pau in the team. So, where are you with Pau?
Yeah, I don't think he had his best season either. But I mean, the season before, I thought he was brilliant. So, yeah, it's just one of them. It's maybe a symptom of society today, where you've got to pick a side, Mings or Pau. I like them both, and I'd keep them both.
Well, you've just done Mings for
Spoiler
us as
alert.
well. Then, yeah, spoiler, Mings is staying. Right, Earl. Here's the first one. Matty Cash. I'll kick it off. I'll take this one. Unfortunately, he's in there for me. I just feel like the right hand side is a big problem, and we're going to get into it in a second as well. And I really like Cash. I think he's honest. I think he's improved a lot along the way. But you look at, and I can't get out my head, Earl, what side teams target Villa. And the majority of the teams target our right-hand side. Now, if they're targeting our right-hand side every single week, why are they doing that? And they're doing it because they feel like that's our weakest side, and it's the side that they can get at Matty Cash. And I also feel like it might not be a Matty Cash problem this either. I think it might be what we want from our right back as well. Do we want him up and down, or do we want sort of a stay at home, tucking inside and allowing a right-sided winger to offer that width? So I feel like Cash is like in between the two. He's comfortable staying back, but he doesn't really want to go too far forward. Like, he doesn't offer that threat. So I look at his stats here. So played 27, started 24. He's got 1 goal, 1 assist, 5 clean sheets. He's 27 years of age. So this has got to be the area for me that we bring in a big reinforcement. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have him in sell as well. I change my mind constantly on Matty Cash. I want to like him. I do like him, but yeah, I think he comes on. and it improves, and then I change my mind about him, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's keep him, and then something happens where I'm like, oh, he's just not quite good enough. I just need to put me out of my misery, and I think it's time for us to move him on.
I think the thing is with this squad is that there are a lot of likable players that have been on a journey with us, and when you've been on that little bit of a journey, they're in your heart, aren't they? You know, they're in your heart. You really like them, but for where we want to strive and get to, we have got to make some tough decisions. And another thing that I've been thinking in my head is, for example, if we kept every single player this season and went into next season with the same squad, nobody leaves, would I be happy? And I don't think I would, because it needs more. It needs a freshen up. And I think for us to be able to do that, certain players have got to move on to allow us more wriggle room to move things around. And I think sometimes if players are leaving, like hopefully we're going to move them on at the right time, which enables them to still fulfill the potential in their careers as well. So that's my little thoughts in there as well.
Yeah, I say with Cash, I think his contract is 2027. If I'm correct. So it's at the point where you've got to think about either extending a contract or moving a player on. And I think with those two options, I think I'd go with moving him on.
Yeah, I agree. Right. Digne. By the way, we're not doing players that haven't played for Villa this season. So Moreno, for example, I imagine he goes. So I don't really feel like there's no point talking about a player like that, because he's not going to stay next season. So he'll be moved on. So Digne, Earl, I'm actually going to keep Digne. He's in my keep section. And I'm keeping him because, like I've sort of mentioned earlier, I believe players will leave, but they can't all leave, and we can't really give us too much to do. You know, for example, if we sell in certain players and then we sell Digne, we've got to replace him. And I feel like it'll come to a point in this window where we can't give ourselves too much to do, if that makes sense. And I really believe that Digne probably has got one more Villa season in him. And I feel like we've got quite a strong vibe on that left-hand side. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. What are you doing with Digne?
I've got him in the sell.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I think his contract is 2026. So it's even more. If we keep him, he's probably going on a free. I don't think we'll extend his contract, especially with the wages that he's on. And my thinking is, if I guess it's a spoiler alert again, but I'm keeping Maatsen, and Maatsen would be my starter, I think.
Yeah.
So having Luca Digne as a backup option, I think is too expensive for a backup. But yeah, I mean, it's similar to Cash, where I really like him. I think he's probably the best left back of my time at Aston Villa in my lifetime. But I just think it's probably time for me that I would move him on rather than losing him for free, because I still think he's got value.
Yeah, so off air, I did say to Earl, if both of us have different, what we'll do is we'll listen to each other's thoughts, and then one of us will have to make a decision. I'm actually going to back Earl here, because what you're saying about the contract just makes perfect sense to me. So I feel like that would probably be the right decision. Boubacar Kamara, I'm going to put him in keep. I'm going to put him in keep. I don't really think I need to fight Kamara's corner here. He does need to sign a contract. I think he will sign a contract. And one thing that I will say about him is that I want, if he is here next season, to play a full season. I think we really get sort of like, he's played 26 games and started 20. So it's another season from Kamara where he's not been there for a large part of it. So that has got to improve, really. And I know it's not his fault that he gets injured, but do you get what I'm saying? Like, he needs to be there because if he's so integral to our team, then we need him.
I've got Kamara in sell.
Really?
Yeah, I knew this was going to be the shocking one, I think. But I've got Kamara in sell.
Why?
I think out of all the big hitters who we could get money for, I think Kamara is the easiest, the most replaceable, I think, in the squad. I think if we sold Kamara, we wouldn't have to buy another midfielder to replace him. We've got Onana plays in there, Tielemans plays in there. Bogarde can play in there, Barkley can play in there, Mcginn can play in there, Barrenechea is coming back, he can play in there. So I feel like we've got plenty of players that can play in that position. If you were to sell a Martinez, for example, or another big hitter, you'd have to spend that money to just replace that player. Whereas I think if we sold Kamara, 50, 60 million or upwards of that, whatever you want to sell him for, we could buy a right winger or I would buy a right winger, a 50, 60 million pound right winger. So that it's not, I don't want to sell him. But I think out of the big hitters, that he would be the one that I would sell. But I'm happy to back you because I would not be disappointed at all if he stays. Obviously, he's
I think I've catched your drift a little bit with like the game time as well. Though he's not there enough, and I think Onana's come on really well, etc. But I would say Kamara's one of my cannot leaves. So
yeah, he will be for a lot of people.
Yeah. I do understand. I do understand what you're saying, but I gave you Digne, so you give me Kamara then. Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
Okay, right. John McGinn, he's in my keep. I'm keeping him because I think, like what I said earlier, you need players like McGinn in your squad. I think he's. I do believe next season his game time might be limited to some extent. I don't see him probably starting as many games as what he has. He's played 34, started 27. But again, 1 goal, 4 assists. He's 30. Not really the numbers there that we kind of need for a player that has played 34 games and started 27. So I think he's brilliant. My one gripe about the whole situation with McGinn is that I don't like your captain coming off at 60 minutes, 65 minutes and passing the armband to Martinez, another one who could possibly leave. And what happens then? Who's the leader? Are we looking at a different captain then? So I think, for me, someone like Tielemans, I think could have the armband. I think he deserves it. I think he's worked well, but again, with the armband comes a different amount of pressure. Could Konsa have it? But I don't know whether I don't think Konsa could really wear it. So McGinn, I think he's just got to stay. I think he's 30, so he's part of the DNA, I think, of what we've built so far, and I wouldn't like to see him go. I don't think it's necessary for him to leave. What do you think?
Yeah, he's another 100% keep for me. Just for what he brings to the dressing room. training pitch, and I think he's just the kind of player that you need in your squad. He can play anywhere. You know, if you've got a hole that needs plugged, you know he can fill it. So yeah, you need players like John Mcginn in the squad. I think 100%.
Okay, there's a big one next. I'll let you take the reins here. Ollie Watkins.
I would keep Ollie Watkins as well. I wouldn't say 100%, but I'm 90% certain that I would keep him. I think I said this in a recent episode, but he's so consistent in my opinion. You know, people might have question marks over him. You know, finishing, he misses big chances, this sort of thing. But I think you have to take your hat off to his consistency. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. I know next season, you know, if he has a terrible season, would be 15 goals, 5 assists. That's like the minimum that I would expect. Like, and I know he can get better than that. He's available pretty much every week. And yeah, I just think if he left, there's just too many goals leaving the team. You'd obviously have to replace him, and then if you sell Ollie Watkins and then his replacement flops, that just sets the club back so far. You know, it could, in my opinion, it could derail everything. You know, if we bring a big money striker in and they flop, it could go the other way, and you know, bring someone in there amazing. But yeah, it's just a risk that I would not take at this point. I would bring in, you know, I still think he needs competition. I'd bring in a younger striker, mold them into the player that you want them to be. I think, you know, like maybe Duran was, you know, his time came a bit too early when Ollie wasn't ready to move on, maybe. But that's the kind of route I would go down. I'd definitely keep Ollie.
I 100% agree with pretty much everything that you've just said. You look at Ollie's season, 38 games played, started 31, 16 goals, 8 assists. That is by far the best numbers within this Villa squad. The next best is Rodgers with 8 goals and 10 assists. And then the next best after that, we've got a handful of players on 3 goals and Youri on 7 assists. So after that, there's not a lot around the squad at all. I think he would be very difficult to replace for someone to hit the ground running straight away. I also feel like, I just feel like he'd have to stay. There is one area of his game that has started to really frustrate me this season, and it's his hold-up play.
Yeah.
His back to goal. It
100%.
is absolutely dire. And he has really got to improve that over the course of the pre-season and get better. And I think he has been playing with an injury this season as well. So again, that probably doesn't help trusting your body, etc. So there are areas that I think he does need to improve on. But I think for me, I would keep Ollie Watkins. Not sure why Emery's on there, but we'll put Emery in keep. And then we've got Olsen, who's already going. So Olsen is leaving anyway, so we can't really mention anything else. But we will be signing a goalkeeper anyway because he's going. Right, you've already said Tyrone Mings, Earl, so I will back that up with you. There's rumours of him getting a new contract. I think he would be a player that needs to just stay and get fit. And if he gets limited amounts of minutes, then that could be one of those players that comes in, does a job, when's needed, when's required. Is he going to play 38 games a season? No. Is he probably going to play 10 to 15? Yes. And could he be game dependent? Yes. So I think for the contract, we'd probably give him 1 year revolving. check it every year, give him a new deal. I think that's one of those type of you see it all the time, especially with like goalkeepers, don't you? You know, they always get those 1 year little roving ones, and I think Mings would be exactly the same. He got 3 clean sheets in the Premier League. He played 14, started 12, no goals. So again, I want to see that bit of a threat from a centre back more next season. But do you want to add anything on Mings?
Yeah, I think defensively, like you mentioned before, him and Konsa have got that partnership, and there are definitely games where I would want to see Mings and Konsa. You know, when we need to be more secure at the back. I still think he's got a season or two, you know, still left in him. We've got Özcan, the young Turkish centre back, coming in as well. So we'll have to see how he progresses, and that could play into things with Mings and Pau. But yeah, for now, I'd definitely keep him.
Villa's best player this season, Youri Tielemans. There was that rumour of Real Madrid sniffing around him. I don't know how true that is, but what a player he's been this season to produce what he has and not come out of nowhere with it, but to be that player. I mean, you look at he's played 36 games, started 35, 3 goals, 7 assists, 28 years of age. I feel like he could be better next season. I've just got a vibe that he could be that player, and I just think he's been probably out and out, pound for pound, the best outright central midfielder in the Premier League this season. I don't think, apart from maybe Gravenberch, could get anywhere near Tielemans. What are you saying?
Yeah, 100% needs that contract extension. That'd be one of the first things I'd try and get done. Because like you say, he's been so consistent over the course of the season, and well deserved player of the season.
So you moved a midfielder to sell. The next one, I think I'm foreseeing something else. I think Barkley could leave, and I think Enzo Barrenechea could be the player that replaces him in the squad. I think Barkley's been okay before the injury, got injured, and I think he's really struggled to really get back up to speed. He scored some big goals for Villa. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh by putting him in the sell category, but I just feel like he's only going to be that bit part player, and I really want to see Enzo Barrenechea play for Aston Villa. He's had a fantastic spell at Valencia, and I feel like he needs to be given that opportunity. Could Enzo be a PSR or a player that moves on and we get some profit for? He's probably valued at around 25 million, maybe. So he could fetch big money. But I think I want to have another look at him in pre-season. And if he does what I expect him to do, I think he's good enough to play for Villa. So where are you at with the two? I've got Enzo on here, so we can put Enzo in this as well. So Barkley and Enzo, what are your overriding thoughts on the two?
Yeah, I also have Barkley as a sell. And like, I think he's been decent. He scored some really important goals for us. But yeah, I mean, with not getting Champions League football, no, we've still got Europa League, but the finances are different. I think we'll need to trim down the squad a little bit to get the wages down. And I think Barkley is he's done enough this season. He's, like I say, he's played well. And he's still got value, I think. I think there'll be Premier League teams that would snap your hand off for Ross Barkley, for this version of Ross Barkley. So I say sell because I think he's got value, and we can use that elsewhere. With Barrenechea, I had Kamara in sell, didn't I? So I've got an even bigger role for Enzo in my team. I think I see something in him.
Yeah, same.
I think he's got it. And I think there needs to be a pathway into the team for him, or sell him, let him move on. So I would definitely keep him around. Different kind. He offers something different to Onana, or they could play together. I think so. Yeah, he's a keep for me, 100%.
Yeah, and the beauty of the loan market is that he's been loaned out and absolutely flourished. Comes back to Villa, hot property, with a lot of clubs looking at him, which is exactly what we want from our players that do go out on loan. So we've been able to have a good look at how he plays, and we've also been able to probably increase his value as well, which is win-win for both. Right. The mysterious case of loaning, right backs that come in, that Nedeljkovic has gone. He's probably going to go, so I'm not going to put him in here either. But what do we do with Garcia? We're all, in our opinion, we're already selling one, so I don't think we can sell two. So, and this is the weird thing about Emery and Villa, is that sometimes what you think you're seeing is completely opposite to what Emery's seen. So what I've seen from Garcia, I like. He goes forward, he gets balls in the box, and then you'll be like, oh, where is he for the second half? Oh, Emery's took him off. And you're like, he was doing all right. And he'll keep some players on that are doing absolutely worse than that player, and he'll take that one off. So for me, I'm keeping him, I am. But I think it's one of them. I can't read it. I don't know what we're going to do. But personally, I would keep him.
Yeah, it's similar to Costa Nedeljkovic, really. I liked Costa Nedeljkovic. I thought he looked all right. But yeah, I guess not. But yeah, I thought Garcia looked quite good. And I would think he's the kind of player, being Spanish, the La Liga vibes. I would have thought, Emery would take a shine to him. But yeah, I think, second season, players tend to kick on under Emery, so I would hope that Garcia can as well. So yeah, I'd definitely keep him around.
Yeah. So we had the mysterious case of Nedeljkovic, the mysterious case of Garcia. What about the mysterious case of Donyell Malen? What is he? I don't know. Where does he feature? I don't know. Where does he play? I don't know. Why hasn't he played? I don't know. But from what I have seen, I like it. He's a bit bullish. He's direct. He picks up the ball. He scored some goals. I mean, how many goals has he scored? He scored 3 goals. He's 26. He's played 14 and started 2. So I want him to stay. I think there's qualities there, but I don't know what Emery's thinking, whether he just wants to have a look at him or nurture him. But I mean, everybody would have expected him to start more games than he has. So, Earl, give me your thoughts and words of wisdom on Marlon. I'll be keeping him, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think there's no chance that he leaves, having only just come in. And yeah, I'd give him a lot more minutes than what he's had. I think he's another player that can play a few positions. I personally like him off the striker best. Maybe something that we're just saving for next season, so teams haven't had a look at it. Maybe. I was watching some games back recently of last season. Diaby and Watkins together, and I think Marlon can do that kind of job. And I think actually as a striker as well, his hold up's been a bit better than Watkins at times as well. So yeah, definitely keep him. Can play off the left, can play off the right, can play through the middle. Good forward to have, good impact sub, brings pace that we sometimes lack. So yeah, hopefully second season he can push on and get a lot more minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, He's not our player. So my question is, do we keep him for another loan spell? Is Asensio, right? My thoughts on Asensio are as follows. If we had the correct left winger and right winger, I would probably keep him because I feel like his best was when Rashford was on that left-hand side.
100%.
When Rashford went up top and we're asking Asensio to run a lot, he's not that player. And I look at this now. Marco Asensio played 13 games, started 9. That tells me that Emery really liked him. But overall, I don't think he was quite there, but there was signs that he was. And so I actually feel like if we address the left side and right side with pace, I think I'd probably give him another loan. But right now, I don't think I would. What are your thoughts?
I 100% agree with what you said about Rashford. I think he just created so much and opened the game up for Asensio, and yeah, he's brilliant, and his goals and goal contributions really pushed us to that next level and got to where we got to at the end of the season. But at the same time, I think the main issue I have with Asensio is I think he blocks and hinders Rodgers' development.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Rodgers pushed out wide. I don't like it. So I think having Asensio there in the 10 blocks Rodgers in that position. And
Yeah.
I don't think Rodgers necessarily play there every game, but I think I want to see Rodgers in the 10 more, and I think with Asensio there, it maybe limits that.
I agree. Maatsen, I think we are both very big fans of Maatsen. Lots more to come from him. He's probably not the finished article, but he's been able to dislodge Luke Digne, who was having a pretty good season during that sort of probably start of it. And Maatsen was always on the bench, and there's just a lot more to come from Maatsen, so he will stay for me. Onana will stay. I think he has started to look very good, powerful, running, driving forward. I think at times he needs to just be a little bit aware of what's around him, and his touch out of his feet and just spatial awareness probably needs to improve a little bit. But I think we've seen that Tielemans has been able to do that, so Onana can do the same. And you look at how young Onana is, 23. There's so much there to develop and unpack that. Again, he was injured this season and he struggled to get back to that full fitness. But I think towards the end of the season, he's been good. So I'm happy with Onana overall. I think he got, how many goals? Did he get 3? Got 3 goals. So played 26, started 20. Probably, that shows the injury a little bit like Kamara there. Both started 20, exactly the same. Both played exactly the same as well. So, do you want to add anything on Onana?
Yeah, well, my comments on Onana are probably similar to my comments on Maatsen as well, to be honest. I think they're both, fairly young, younger than you'd probably assume. But they're still at the level, I think, right now. I think they've both got a lot to improve on. But I think the only way to reap that improvement is minutes. So I want to see them both get minutes and take the opportunities and become world-class players, hopefully.
Hopefully. Right, we're left with 4 players and I haven't, some tasty ones in there, I'm telling you. Right, so Bogarde, I know you're a big Bogarde fan. I am too. I like him. Well, one gripe My one gripe is, did he take his opportunity that he had? That's my question for you, Earl.
I think he did. I think he took his opportunity. I think at the start of the season, it was a bit shaky. It was a bit shaky, but I think those were crucial minutes that he needed, and it settled the nerves. And then I think after that he did take his opportunity. The big thing for Bogarde with me is he is a club trained player, which is big for the Europa League, European squad rules. So having a player like Bogarde in the squad who counts as a club trained player, he can play multiple positions. He's young. He's going to keep improving. He's 100% keep for me.
I'm sold. I'm sold on that. What is he though?
I think he's a midfielder,
So like
defensive
a
midfielder.
defensive midfielder.
Yeah, screen
Okay.
the back four. Can play at centre back if needed. That's my view.
Yeah. So next up, we've got Morgan Rogers, who has had a fantastic season. You know, he has had a fantastic season, but then he's also been played out of position, which has really hindered him, I think. If we have a quick look at his numbers, played 37, started 37, undroppable for memory, 8 goals, 10 assists. Probably should have been rotated earlier on in the season. Probably not helped him that much with the amount of games he's played. It sort of feels like at times he's been running to the ground a little bit. And moving over to that right-hand side, it's not his position, and I don't like it. I think he needs to go straight down the middle, play down the middle. And just he's still got a lot to do. I think he's at the start of the season, I said his finishing needed to improve, and I think his finishing has improved. But I think probably what he does need to improve on is utilising the ball a little bit more, not knowing when to carry, knowing when to dribble through players. I think at times he probably gets caught a little bit too much for me. And I think that's all part of him growing as a player, really, because he's still very young and there's a lot of room to improve for him as well. And, you know, I think that's good. I don't think it's a negative that he's got stuff to work on. I think it's a positive, really. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think well, the secret's out. The secret's out with Morgan Rogers. Everybody knows about him now. Every team in the league next season is going to be planning. He's going to be number one on the scouting report for a lot of teams next season. They're going to be planning for playing against Morgan Rogers. So we're going to see what he's all about. He's going to have to rise to that, and he's going to have to keep improving, like you say. But yeah, what unbelievable season! And there's been games, even games where he's been a bit more anonymous and he's not been into the game. He's still cropped up with a late goal or assist at times. So that's just the sign of a good player as well. But yeah, keep getting those minutes, like I say, and keep getting that consistency.
Spot on. Right. There's 2 players left, Earl. And we've got the Kamara thing that you've said your thoughts on Kamara. But for me, this is the Villa team that I think I want to see stay. The circles are positions that I want to see recruitment and improvements. Why I'm saying this is right-hand side has been a massive problem for Villa. And we all don't like him out there. But the reason why Rodgers is out there is because Leon Bailey didn't perform. So it's meant that there's nobody that can play there. Out and out winger, how our system is, that's been a problem. So he's gone out there. Right back, a massive area that we need to recruit on. and we'll get onto that left-hand side in a second, Earl. Leon Bailey, what do we do? Keep or sell?
100% sell.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I like Leon Bailey. I like the idea of Leon Bailey more than the performances of Leon Bailey. I think we need a player. The player that we need is Leon Bailey from last season. I'm not confident that he will be that player next season.
What's he worth?
Just not good enough. 20 million.
Yeah, I agree. And I interviewed his dad last season, and his dad, well, stepdad, told me that he can be the best player in the world. That's what his dad told me.
You've not heard that this season, have you?
No, but that drop off has been a big part to why we did struggle for parts this season. You know, compared to last season to this. So this season he's played 24, started 14, 1 goal, 2 assists. For a player that he's so important to our system, really, because we have that asymmetric vibe of right winger, high and wide, left back, there's your width on both sides. He disappears. We're struggling. You know, there's no one else that can play it, and that's why Rodgers had to go there, and that hindered us at times as well. So, yeah, I think he's gonna go, and he probably will go back to Germany, maybe a league that he's comfortable. Do you think, or is it Saudi? Do you think Saudi could come in for him?
I think he could go anywhere. To be honest, I think there's still that vision of last season still there. Not for me, but I think other teams will have that. Be able to take that chance on him. I think he could go. I think he could go anywhere.
Right, guys. The last player is Jacob Ramsey, and for me personally, deep down, he's the one that I am getting rid of out of all of the ones that are staying. Martinez, Watkins, Ramsey for me, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, I'm just not feeling it. I look at, and the reason why I'm saying this, guys, is that if we have a little look here now, and I'll ask you this question. Since Emery has come in, has anybody locked down that position on that left-hand side? The answer's no. McGinn's in there. Ramsey's in there. Rashford was in there. Nobody has been able to play that position. And yes, he's one of our own, etc. But I just think if somebody has to leave, then that's the player that I would make way. This season, played 29 games, started 19, 1 goal, 3 assists. He's not even first choice, really. He's not even that player that sort of he's first choice there. Like Emery doesn't utilise him for me as a player that he's definitely comfortable. I think he's comfortable with his defensive work, but attacking wise, positional wise, we saw the impact that Rashford had out there when he went out there, and I would be looking for something very, very similar. And a lot of you probably might disagree with what I'm saying, but I just feel like another player could come in there and do a job. And if I had to sell one player, so if you agree at home that you'd get rid of Watkins or you'd get rid of Kamara or you'd get rid of Pau Torres, for me, Ramsey's that player that I would personally look to move on, because I just think I'm not seeing him develop. I'm not seeing him get better and better. And I would expect right now for that position to be his position that nobody can dislodge. And I don't see it. So, Earl, what are your thoughts? Where's your headspace at? What are your thoughts on Ramsey? This will be interesting.
I've got Ramsey as keep.
Okay.
Keep. I don't disagree with what you said, to be honest. I do think he needs to get better, get a lot better. But I think he can. I think he can get better. I think I've seen flashes of him getting back to where he was before the injury. I'd say similar to what I said with Bogarde, where he's a club trained player. So he's good to have in the squad for the European squad. And I think I don't necessarily think he needs to be a starter. I think he can be a role player and he can play a role. Even if if he doesn't get to the level that I think he can, which he's not got to at the minute. I think he's still good enough to be a role player. Yeah, I probably would bring in someone in that position as well, but I would at least keep Ramsey as the backup. There's a lot of talk about it, if you sell him and he's pure profit and this kind of thing. But from the flip side of that, if we're talking about finances, he's also a fairly inexpensive player. He's not on, that much amount of money, so he's fairly inexpensive for a backup option if that's all he ever accounts to become. But I think he still could. I think he still could get there.
I would love to be proved wrong, guys. I'm not saying this because I don't want. I'm the way I am in life. If I have an opinion, I am really happy to be able to change my opinion. I don't just go, that's my opinion, I'm not changing it. If he stayed and was fantastic, then absolutely amazing. But I feel like he disappears a bit too much for me. So those are my thoughts. I'll let Earl have him, and he can be in the keep section. But again, I've got to be true to myself. If there's a player that I think needs to improve massively, and he would be that player.
I think the European thing for me is it's the mass. It's the main thing. I did flip flop between. I did originally have him as sell for the reasons that you're saying, but those European squad positions. I think if you don't have the club trained players, so I think you can have 21 non-club trained players, and 4 club trained players to get you to the 25-man squad. So really, we've got Bogarde and Ramsey. We've got 2, so we've got a bit smaller squad than the limit as it is. So I just think we need him for the squad.
There we have it then. I think we got through that quite well, to be honest. And I look at it and I think there'll be more in the sell than what we've put in there. I've just got a vibe. I think there will be more than what we've put in there. But I feel like that, if that was what would happen, that would give us probably, if that was what happened, I think we'd have quite a comfortable summer. Because
do you know who we've missed actually? Rashford. Who? Rashford.
Okay, Rashford's not on there. Okay. I would, for example, then, if Villa sold Watkins, I would get Rashford. That's what I would do. What would you do?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. To be fair, it's a difficult one without Champions League, but I think if we have a big sale in a position like that, even if we sell Ramsey, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rashford could stay.
Why isn't Rashford on there?
Difficult without Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah. And what? Okay, last one then. Disasi. I'd loan him again, but
Yeah, I'd loan him again. I think we need to
Yeah.
spend money in other positions. So if we could loan him again, that's fine.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that if this was what was going to happen, you'd look at that and go, you could improve left hand side, you can improve right hand side, you can improve right back, get an extra left back on loan, or sign a younger player, another keeper. Enzo's back in. That summer would be quite straightforward, I
Yeah,
think.
I think we've kept to our objective there of like keeping the core of the team together, and then still having enough left over to make some to change the squad up enough. I think best of both worlds.
Okay. We'll finish off on this one then. So obviously in the comment section, there's going to be a lot of discussion. Who do you think has had the bigger bombshell? You with Kamara or me with Ramsey?
I think me with Kamara.
Do you? I
I
think
think
I've had the. I think people will look at that Ramsey one and be like, "What's he doing?"
I think people will agree with you on that one. To be fair,
Do you?
because I semi agree with you. I do semi agree with you on that one, but yeah, I just think Kamara because he's one of our best players. So to sell him almost seems mad, and it sounds mad in my own head. But like I say, if you sell him for whatever we sell him for, I see it as we can buy a right winger for that much. So
Okay, so we'll know if people have watched the end of the show then, because in the comment section you've got to put hashtag Team Earl or hashtag Team Luke to see what side you're on then, and we'll be able to gauge what people are suggesting, who they believe in, who do they believe in. Right, so thanks everyone for watching. A longer episode from us, but it was really fun. And it is only a bit of fun, you know. I mean, I'm not Monchi, Earl's not Monchi.
yeah.
We don't have to make these decisions, so just the fans can have fun with it. So cheers everyone for watching, and up the Villa.